Hey gang, welcome to WVGR Sports Network and the Tom the Bomb Sports Talk. And this is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. If you don't think it's a great day, just try missing one. And we, L-O-V-E, love sports on the Tom the Bomb Show. I'm your host, Tommy Wood. Hey, we got a fantastic show for you. Hey, we are live in prime time. Hey, we're live, so you can actually call Tom the Bomb. The number here to call is 240-678-8613. That's 240-678-8613 if you want to call and talk to Tom Bomb and ask some questions. But we got another fantastic show. As usual, we want to thank God for the new thing that he's doing for us in 2024. Of course, our theme for this year, for 2024, is the year of fixed purpose. And all that's saying is, you know, when you keep your eye on the prize, and what is the prize? The prize is the Word of God, because Jesus is the Word made flesh. So when you keep your eye on the prize, the Word, it will allow you to ignore life's daily distractions. And that's what we're going to do in 2024. We're going to stay focused. We're going to keep our eye on the prize, and we are not going to be distracted, because the enemy always comes at us. He's always going to attack us on our sense realm, the things that we can see, the things that we can feel, the things that we can touch, the things that we can smell. That's where the attack is always going to come. But the Word tells us that the things that are seen are temporal, and the things that are unseen are eternal. So we're going to stay fixed on the Word, and that's what's going to allow us to ignore life's daily distractions. Hey, no trivia today. Hey, gang, Tom the Bomb is now on YouTube. Just put Tom the Bomb Sports Talk in the search bar, and the show will pop up. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Tom the Bomb will really, really greatly appreciate that. So, hey, look, here's what happened on Monday. You know, we had some Olympic video coverage, and that coverage wasn't authorized, so they actually pulled the show, which is why a lot of you guys weren't able to catch and find me on Monday. And that's why we're doing a kind of a mini reversion today live on Wednesday. But that's what happened. So we're going to kind of rehash some things because I felt like it was a really good show, and a lot of you guys just missed it. And I appreciate you guys reaching out and say, hey, Tom the Bomb, where's the show? I didn't see it. I do really, really appreciate it. And that's why we're doing that this evening. So Tom the Bomb, we're live. Prime time, baby. Prime time, baby. Hey, let's take the NFL is kicking off tomorrow. We got the Hall of Fame game. That's going to be exciting. Hey, man, it's dun, 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 dun. It's back. It's back. The NFL rules, man. The NFL rules. Hey, let's talk some Cardinal baseball real quick. You know, there's been a frenzy with the trading, and the Cardinals have brought back Tommy Pham back to St. Louis. Never should have let him go, but they have brought Tommy Pham back. They also picked up pitcher Eric Fetty, and today they brought up a guy from the minor leagues, Michael McGreevy, and he pitched 7 strong innings as the Cardinals demolished the Rangers today 10-1, and then they won last night as well. But I want to get back to Tommy Pham. Tommy Pham's first at bat back in St. Louis. A grand slam in his first at bat. Man, if you wrote that up in a movie, nobody would believe it, man. It's unbelievable, but man, it's great. You know, the Cardinals were looking for a right-hand back. They're kind of left-handed heavy, so they was looking for a right-handed bat with a little bit of power. So Tommy, especially against left-handed pitching, Tommy Pham fits that perfectly. He has great on-base percentage, and he hits left-handers very, very well. So his first at bat, he comes back, hits a grand slam, man. I was so excited. And today he hit well. Today I think he had a double, drove in a couple of runs, and like I said, the Cardinals crushed the Rangers 10-1. You know, but hey, I do want to talk about it because you know, there's a lot of rumors floating around, and the Cardinals like they're still looking for pitchers, and I think Eddie Fetty is the guy they brought in, but there was rumors that they were going to bring in Blake Snell, and you know, here's the thing, man, the Cardinals, the St. Louis Baseball Cardinals fan base is one of the most knowledgeable fan bases in all of baseball. And they're kind of tired of being lied to, because before the season started, you know, Mo and the front office, you guys said that you were going to go out and the number one priority was going to be starting pitching, and that you were going to go out and get an ace and a number 2 pitcher. So I felt like they should have got Blake Snell from the get-go. They went out and they signed Sonny Gray, but if they brought in Blake, so Sonny Gray is a great number 2 starter, but Sonny Gray is not a number 1 starter. The St. Louis Cardinals haven't had a number 1 starter since Chris Carpenter. You know, when they had Chris Carpenter and then Adam Wainwright in his heyday was the number 2, that was a great 1-2 punch that St. Louis could throw up against any team in the major leagues. And they don't have that. So, you know, they should have been going after Blake Snell from the get-go, but they keep saying these things. And here's the thing, and I don't want to be crude, but this is just the truth. Because, you know, you can't urinate on people's head and feet and tell them that it's raining. Okay, that's just not going to work with the St. Louis fan base. And you keep promising that you're going to go out and get an ace, and we still don't have a pace. Yes, okay, Eddie Fetty will help, but that's not the ace. Blake Snell is the guy you guys should have went out and got, but we need a number one starter, a guy that when he goes out there, he's going to win 80 to 90% of the time when he takes the ball. So that's where it is. So I'm happy to have Tommy Pham back. They never should have let him go. You know, they've made a lot of mistakes, man. Listen, man, do you know what the St. Louis Cardinals would be if they had Randy Arozarena, Odalis Garcia, and Tommy Pham in the outfield? You know what? Let's not even go there. So, you know, the Cardinals, they have their destiny in their own hand. That's really, really all you can ask. I think they're about 6 games behind the Milwaukee team, and they got a chance. But you know, if they don't get more strong starting pitching, even if they get into the playoffs, I don't think they're going to go any further. You know, I don't see this team as a World Series team. It would really, really be something. You know, if they just make the playoff, that's going to be good. And I really think that's all Mo and the front office is looking for, is to try to get them back into the playoffs. But even with their current, you know, state of where they are in the race, they are a wild card team currently. They still need to make changes in the front office, and they still need to make a management change. Although I will say Ali Marmol is actually doing a better job this year than he's done in the past. But you know, it's time to move on. Okay, let's get to the Olympics. Olympics gone. Hey, Team USA, the basketball team, defeated Serbia on Sunday, 110-84. And today they shut down South Sudan and cruised to a 103-86 blowout victory. They're now 2-0 in Group C, and they've clinched the spot in the quarterfinals, which are going to be on Tuesday. I told you guys, you know, with those warm-up games, I told you guys to relax. Just relax. They're warm-up games, man. The coaching staff, man, they got some of the top coaches in all the NBA, and they're trying to get a chemistry together. These international teams have been playing together for years, and like I always say, basketball, the thing that I love about basketball is the best team wins, not the best talent. The best team wins, and they have a lot more chemistry than this U.S. All-Star team. But so these warm-up games, they're just trying to get to know each other, trying to get their chemistry more for, trying to get their rotations right. You know, people were all bent out of shape in the Serbia game because Jason Tatum didn't play at all. And people were all bent out and say, hey, listen, man, the ideal is to win the gold medal. We don't care who's playing. You just better bring back the gold. Yes, there's more stiff competition. You know, some of the, you know, the crazies out there who think that this team is better than the 1992 Dream Team. You know, they're saying the Dream Team only went up against 6 or 9 NBA stars, and this current U.S. team is going against 61 NBA stars. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that at all, because I don't care whether it's France or Germany or Serbia or whoever. They don't have 12 NBA superstars at all. Now, another one of the things that I'm saying is, you know, the Olympics, you know, my wife loves the Olympics, and it seems to me like there's more women watching the Olympics than men. And let me just say this, you know, the United States is leading in the medal count, and it's because of the women that are on the U.S. teams. And it's, you know, and you know, Lauren is watching all of this. I know my girl Cheryl, I know she's throwing Olympic parties. I know you do that. You're watching your Olympic parties. And the women for the U.S. is bringing it home. The swimming, the gymnastics. We're going to talk about Simone Biles in a minute. She qualified for her 5th finals with a calf injury, you know, she is absolutely the GOAT. Now let me just say this: the men gymnastic team medaled for the first time in I think almost 16 years, and they got the bronze, and that's great. But the women gymnastic team led by Simone Biles bringing home the gold again. But you know, when you have the GOAT on your team, you're supposed to bring home the gold. I think this is Simone Biles' 9th championship. I think they were calling this the Redemption Tour because of, you know, what happened in the last Olympics, where I think she got vertigo and she just couldn't compete, and she got a lot of criticism for that, and that was unfair. One of the other things that kind of came out that we talked about on Monday, I want to mention Ellie Black, gymnast from Canada. You know, let me just say this right, man. You know, social media, you know, you know, there's so much garbage let me just say it like this. If you see it on, you can't believe anything that you see or read on social media. I saw an article, and the article was titled something like Ellie Black says that Simone Biles is only winning because of her race. And it was an inflammatory title, but if you actually read the story, Ellie Black was a big supporter of Simone Biles, and basically what she was saying was that a lot of times we kind of attribute athleticism and talent to African Americans just because of their race, but she was talking about how hard Simone has worked in the past, and that she's that good because of her work ethic. So she was very much in support of Simone Biles, but the headlines was totally race baiting, you know, and I hate to see that on social media. Man, you can't believe, and especially with this AI now, man, you can't believe nothing that you see on social media. So don't fall for the okie doke, you know, that's just crazy. Local swimming star Katie Ledecky, she won bronze in the 400-meter freestyle. She came up short on Saturday after Australia Adrienne Titmus defended her Olympic title. Titmus led from the start to finish at 3 minutes and 57 seconds. Her biggest challenge came from the Canadian phenom Summer McIntosh. She claimed the silver medal at 3:58, while Ledecky finished at 4 minutes. But hey, her special is the 1500. She's a marathoner, so you really can't expect a marathoner to beat a sprinter, and that's what we're looking at with these two. With Titmus is more of a sprinter swimmer, and Ledecky is more of a marathoner. So I think her specialties are coming up, and we expect Katie Ledecky to medal later on in this Olympics, well, if she hasn't already, because Tom the Bomb, it really isn't following it as close as Dr. Lauren is, okay? Hey, Cheryl, hey, Jerry, how you guys doing? I see you guys there. So, hey, let's get to, so if you guys have any questions, like I said, the number here is 240-678-8613. That's 240-678-8613. If you want to talk Olympics, whatever you want to talk about, you can call, and we can talk about the word. Whatever you want to call, you can call Tom the Bomb. We'll talk about it right now. But hey, let's get to what this story that we're going to be talking about. Should Pete Rose be in the Hall of Fame? Now, HBO's new 4-part documentary on Pete Rose is informative. It's provocative. Pete Rose is every man. He's a hard worker. Who's maximized his skills. His ban from Major League Baseball for betting on baseball is understood, yet it's still being questioned. Okay, Rose says he only bet on his team to win. Now, I don't believe that. Listen, let me just say it like this. Let's keep it 100. That's a lie. Okay, a junkie gambler uses every tool at his disposal. Now, initially, I always felt like that Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. Okay, and my thinking on this was, yes, Pete Rose bet on baseball, but when he did that, he was a manager. We've never going to consider Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame as a manager, but what he did as a player, to me, qualifies him for the Hall of Fame. He's the all-time hit leader, and that's why I always felt like that Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. But after watching this documentary, I don't know if Pete Rose should ever get anywhere near the Hall of Fame. And we're gonna dig into this a little bit deeper. Okay, did Rose as a manager throw games? Okay, did he exhaust his resources when he bet on his own team? These questions are never going to be answered. It took 15 years after his ban to admit he bet on baseball, and he only did that after writing the book that he needed to sell. Okay, so, it's like, okay. So, what's great about this documentary, and if you haven't seen it, I highly, highly suggest you watch it, because even if you're just not a sports fan, as I said, it's informative and it's provocative. It's really, really good. So, what's great about the documentary is that Pete Rose, unlike MJ, unlike Michael Jordan in The Last Dance, didn't have editorial control. Michael Jordan had editorial control over The Last Dance. In other words, Michael would say, okay, you can put this in for people to see, or you can't put this in. Now, Mike had all that type of control. But Pete Rose doesn't have editorial control over HBO's Charlie Hustle. So because of that, it's not flattering for Pete Rose. HBO often use photos and videos and audio to catch Pete Rose in outright lies. So it was really kind of funny, It's almost like saying, hey, do you know Gloria Daughtry? No, I don't know Gloria Daughtry. And then they'll show a picture of having my arm around Gloria Daughtry. And you're just like, no, I don't know Gloria Daughtry. And they got a picture in the background of me hugging Gloria Daughtry. So that's kind of how the documentary was. So it was really, really funny because they caught him in multiple outright lies. And another thing after watching the documentary is like, he lied so much. And I'm thinking, man, this guy, you can't believe anything coming out of his mouth. Pete Rose's sexism, his crudeness, and his ego are on full display. Pete Rose is talking a lot, and he has charisma. He's very charismatic. So many will end up liking him because he's adept at bending the facts to suit his purpose. He really believes in his own lies. He thinks that's how it actually occurred, which is an indication of his disease, okay? And, with Pete Rose, it's always somebody else's fault. He got caught, but others were doing it, and they didn't get caught. That's his story. But here's the thing. Everything bad that happened to Rose was his own doing, okay? He is not a victim. He is absolutely not a victim, even though people have occasionally piled on him, okay? Pete Rose is Major League Baseball all-time hit leader. The Hall of Fame it's kind of a joke because who's not in it? Check this out. Here's a lineup of players that are ineligible for the Hall of Fame that might beat any lineup of the currently enshrined Hall of Famers. Check this out. Pete Rose, Barry Bonds, Alex Rodriguez, A-Rod, Shoeless Joe Jackson, Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, Manny Ramirez, Jose Canseco, Rafael Palmeiro, and how about we put Roger Clemens on the mound to pitch? Man, that's a formidable team. That's a team that could beat, literally anybody, man. It just kind of, that's why I say it's almost kind of a joke, with Pete Rose not being in the Hall of Fame. Question, is indefinite suspensions fair? Is indefinite suspensions fair? I don't know. Would putting Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame be so terrible? Something to think about. Pete Rose's lifetime ban allowed for him to appeal for reinstatement after 1 year. But Major League Baseball had no intention of ever considering that. But they dangled that carrot. They suckered Rose into signing that agreement because the terms of Rose's ban at that time didn't find that he had actually bet on baseball. That was negotiated. So here's the bottom line. Pete Rose lied, but so did Commissioner Bart Giamatti. Major League Baseball lied as well. And Giamatti unfortunately died of a heart attack 8 days after suspending Pete Rose. And that instantly gave Rose suspension an air of finality, okay? So should Pete Rose be reinstated into baseball? Bob Costas had a good take on it. He was like, why don't you put him on the ballot, okay? And then just let people vote on it, But here's the thing, and not just baseball, with all sports. The Hall of Fame has nothing to do with Major League Baseball. See, Major League Baseball has nothing to do with who's in the Hall of Fame. Okay, a lot of people don't understand that. So here's the deal. Pete Rose has been suspended from Major League Baseball. If you're suspended from Major League Baseball, then you're not eligible for the Hall of Fame. So, the commissioner of baseball is saying, we ain't got nothing to do with Pete Rose being in the Hall of Fame. But, his suspension, his indefinite suspension, one record that Pete Rose has, he's probably going to be suspended longer than anybody. And here's the thing. If you put this guy in the Hall of Fame after he dies, that's just going to flat out be mean. There's no point of that. So should Pete Rose be reinstated into baseball? Yes. Pete Rose has a disease. He has a gambling addiction. And, one of the reasons I felt like that he shouldn't be in because, all of the lies that he told. But, I watched this with Dr. Lauren, and one of the things that she pointed out, which is from a doctor, which I totally agree with, is that any type of addiction, whether it's drugs, alcohol, gambling, overeating, sex, whatever the addiction is, all addictions are driven by lies. He's his own worst enemy because he's an habitual liar. But lying is a huge part of any addiction. Think about it. We all have known somebody who's been addicted to something, and if they're breathing, they're lying, okay? So, she had a good point was that you can't hold the fact that Pete Rose lies against him because he's an addict, and all addicts lie. And that's a good point, okay? So should he be put back on the Hall of Fame ballot? Yes. All of Pete Rose fans right now, anybody that's really a Pete Rose fan, they've got to be 50 years or older. I'm 60 years old now. I actually saw Pete Rose play with my own eyes. It would come to St. Louis. I saw him play pretty much almost all of his career. And I've always been a Pete Rose fan because of the way he plays his game. So here's another point. Is the Houston Astros scandal and the steroid era worse than what Pete Rose did? That's one thing. Now, here's another thing. Major League Baseball and all professional sports have now embraced and legalized gambling, and they're now promoting it. So to me, that's kind of like now marijuana has been legalized, and yet you got young men or people in prison for 20, 25 years for marijuana. So you got them in prison for something that's actually legal now. So how do we hold Pete Rose betting on baseball when baseball is now embracing and promoting gambling, betting on baseball, all sports, baseball, NFL, NBA, and I've been saying, if you guys have been watching the Tyler Bomb Show, I've been screaming it from the rooftop. This legalized gambling is going to ruin professional sports. Before it happened in the NBA, I told you guys it was going to happen. We've had players in the NFL that have been suspended for gambling, and to some point, Pete Rose has a point that yes, he got caught, but he's definitely not the only one that's doing it. So is the Astros cheating scandals, the steroid era, and now Major League adopting legalized gambling? Can you hold that still against me? That's really the big point of why you've got to put him back on the ballot and get him, let him at least be voted on for the Hall of Fame. Now, a lot of Pete Rose Hall of Fame contemporaries are now supporting him for him to be reinstated and voted into the Hall of Fame. Because really, at this point, the only way he can get in is with the Veterans Commission, and those are the guys who are actually already in the Hall of Fame. And I think those guys know that Pete Rose deserves to be a Hall of Famer. But here's if you watch the documentary, and the documentary is really, really good. And this I never knew. Pete Rose has ties to narcotics and drug figures, and I think that's still hurting his chances of being reinstated and put in the Hall of Fame. Just like I mentioned to you earlier where he talked about, well, do you know this person or do you know this guy? Oh, I don't know him. I don't have nothing to do with it. And then they show pictures of him, hanging out with these guys with their arms around each other. People who were in the drug industry. So and I never knew that. I never thought. But bad company corrupts good character. Okay, that's what the word says, and I think that's really, really hurting Pete Rose right now. I really, really do. Hey, look, we're gonna take a commercial break. You're gonna be amazed how quick this commercial break is. Watch this. Watch this. Let's go to commercial. We're back. I told you this was gonna be quick. Come on, guys. I told you we're gonna re-air this on WBGR, so I got to do that so they can get the commercial breaks in. That's how we're doing that. Okay. Hey, listen, the Miami Dolphins signed Tua Tagovailoa to 4 years at $212.4 million. His extension is $167 million guaranteed. It makes him the 4th highest paid player in NFL history at $53 million per year. So the question is he worth it? The knock on Tua is he hasn't won against winning teams. He hasn't done anything in the playoffs. So is Tua worth it? Absolutely not. No way, no how is he worth it. But it's what the market says that he's worth, okay? If you're going to give Trevor Lawrence $50 million, and I'm a huge, huge, huge fan of Jordan Love, but you're giving Jordan Love $50 million in his second or third year after only having one good year, it's what the market says they're worth. So is he worth it? No, but that's what the market is bearing. Okay? It's what the person is willing to pay. If someone is willing to pay it, then that means that he's worth it. So, we got to get past the point where we're against these athletes because they're making a lot of money. Look, if I can pay you $53 million a year, that means you're rich. But the guy who's paying the check, that guy's wealthy. Okay? And there's a difference between being rich and wealthy. Okay? because we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. You know, $53 million a year, that sounds like a ton of money, and it is. But you'd be shocked at how much of those. I think last week we talked about that Jason Tatum was making $65 million a year. A lot of people don't know this, but when professional athletes, there's something that they call a jock tax. And this was, I think Los Angeles did this after Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls beat them in the NBA Finals. They started levying what is called a jock tax. So when professional athletes go into another city, they tax them on their game check. You know, so they're not making as much money as you think. So out of, you know, with their agents and all that thing, so out of the $65 million that Jason Tatum makes a year, he's bringing home about $22 million. Now, $22 million is still a lot of money. It ain't the Latrell Sprewell thing where, man, how can I live on $22 million? I can't live on $22 million, but which is ridiculous. But my point being is, you know, you see he's making $65 million, but in actuality, he's really only bringing in 22. So that's quite a bit of money when you talk about taxes and you know, the levy, you know, what his agents and different things like that. It's really, really, like I said, they're not making as much as you think. So $53 million, that's great. That's a lot of money, but it's not what you think. Like I said, the guy who's writing the check, that guy is wealthy, and they're getting around the taxes. Okay, and that's why they're wealthy like that. You know, the Madden rankings came out. You know, we talked about that. We're not going to go into that in detail. But hey, man, that's pretty much it. Like I said, we wanted to just get you guys caught up on what you missed on Monday. Like I said, you know, it was a lot of good information, and especially, and the main thing we want to get, guys, if you guys haven't seen the Pete Rose documentary, it's absolutely excellent. You need to check it out. I think it's on HBO West. I think that's what it is. But it's so even if you're not really a sports fan, it's very, very intriguing. It's provocative. It's informative. And I, you know, being a seam head like I am, you know, I know a lot about baseball. But man, I found out things that I just didn't know, man. And like I said, you know, there's ties to the narcotics and drugs and different things like that. So it's very, very informative. So if you guys get a chance to check that out, check that out. Hey, enjoy the Olympics. The Olympics are fantastic. You know, it's just fascinating watching. You know, it's you know, I think Lauren and I was in Paris not too long ago, and where we were staying was right there on the Seine. So where the procession of the opening ceremonies, that was like right where we were staying. We could have just looked out our windows and saw everything. So it's really, really good. It's a beautiful city. It's probably the most romantic city in the world. San Francisco is the best romantic city in the United States, but Paris is super romantic. It's old, you know. You know, there's nothing in the United States that's old. You know, I mean, there were bridges that we were going over that was over 1,000 years old. The flat that we stayed in was over 400 years old. You know, so you know, it's a beautiful city, but the whole city looked like it needed to be power washed to me. Hey, that's what Tom was. And the smells is just, oh my God. Even if you don't know where you're going, and even if you don't understand the language, just follow your nose. I mean, the smell, the foods there, unbelievable. So if you guys get a chance to go, Patty, do it, book it. You definitely want to do that. Hey, I don't see any calls out there. That's pretty much it. Like I said, we just wanted to get you guys caught up and go over some things. You know, we'll be back on Monday. We'll get it squared away. I think that's pretty much everything. Hey, listen, like I said, we didn't have any trivia or poll questions. Hey, for a dynamic, in-depth analysis and highlights for the Washington football team and DC sports and more, check out the Washington Sports Den on Thursdays at 2 p.m. on WBGR with my main man, Felix Bassi. Hey, man, time flies when you're having fun. We're out of time here, but we sure do thank you for spending your time with us. Listen, may the gates of heaven open and pour an abundance of blessings down on you, where there won't be room enough to contain it. Remember, if you want it, you got to confess it with your mouth and believe it in your heart that Jesus died on the cross and that he rose on the third day, not a Thursday, just for you. Remember, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. And hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. God bless you. We'll see you on this same bat time, on this same bat station. You guys have a blessed evening. Thank you for sticking with Tom the Bomb. We'll see you guys. And remember, hey, Tom the Bomb's on YouTube. Go to YouTube, hit that subscribe button. I really, really, really would appreciate it. We'll see you guys on Monday. Tom the Bomb out. Peace.